You know what the best thing is on this TV? No, it's not the brightness and it's not the colors. I mean, don't get me wrong. Colors and brightness on the S95C is just wow. But the best thing on this TV is panel uniformity and reflection handling. Those two things are the best on the S95C. I mean, again, don't get me wrong. Brightness and colors are much better than on my CX. Much better. Especially colors. And we're talking about all these things like brightness, colors and stuff like that. Of course, in this video and in upcoming future videos. Okay, so keep in mind, this is just a very brief first impression video because I was so busy with real life. Actually, I haven't had any time actually to test this like I would like to. Okay, or what I have done actually more or less, I run some break-ins to get actually a couple of hours on the TV to get the best picture for this first impression video. But I like to make this very clear here. Don't focus too much on this side-by-side comparison at the moment. It's not really a side-by-side comparison, okay? So my camera right now is focusing on me. That means the ISO, all the settings are not really good for showing TVs like this. And the problem what I'm having here right now is that DCX here is unfortunately it's not as bright as the S95C. I mean, we know this. And the problem is now the camera can of course catch this stuff here because lower brightness much better than the higher brightness here. That means if you see a blown out picture, especially in specular highlights on the S95C, that's just because of my camera, okay? In upcoming videos, there will be a proper side-by-side comparison and you will not have problems like that, okay? I promise. So what we're doing today is I like to talk about my first impression, okay? We're talking about brightness, color, panel uniformity, reflection handling and shadow details, because this is also something what I noticed actually which is better on the S95C. So okay, let's start with panel uniformity because this is something which is very important and you may or may not believe it. I haven't seen any better panel in my life so far. This is just unbelievable. Panel uniformity in terms of your dirty screen effect or something like that. I mean, there is no dirty screen effect at all. Forget about this. I mean, this is just the best quality what I have ever seen. And I immediately noticed this because I mean, I have the CX and the S95C like that. And I can play the same material at the same time. And what I found is, first of all, I never noticed that, I never noticed how much pink tint actually my CX has. I never noticed this before I had this, you know, because this has, I don't know how to explain it really. This has, if you display a pure white picture, it's white. If you do the same here, you have pinkish tone, whitish tone, pinkish tone, whitish tone, okay? Don't get me wrong, great panel compared to LCD screens, still so much better, but this one here, wow. I mean, I heard it from people like Classy, KG, they all told me, they're saying this in the videos, great panel uniformity, and literally they are not lying. I haven't seen any problem. There's no line, no dirty screen effect, nothing. This is just so great to play. And what I have to say on the CX here, and unfortunately my G2 is in my office, so I can't do this side-by-side comparison, but again, in upcoming videos, you will see it side-by-side. On the CX, and maybe you can put this in the comment section as well if you have the same issue. I have a lot of horizontal and vertical lines on the CX, especially when you display HDR material, very bright and very plain colors, or so just one color. And then you have maybe a movement or whatever, you can actually see those lines, those vertical and horizontal lines. Very distracting because I'm usually not sitting far away from my TVs, maybe 1.8, 2 meters from my 65-inch. And even here I can see it on very plain colors. But again, here, this is so much better. And that's also the reason why it is so much clearer, the picture. It is just a joy actually to watch content or play games on the S95C. And now let's talk about the reflection handling, because this is something maybe you don't even have on your top 5 points for buying a new TV. And believe me, this is not good compared to the S95C. So I have heard, or I have seen a couple of videos where people actually complaining or saying, oh, be aware, we have black level rays on the S95C or on the QD OLED TVs, also on the G3, because of the coating, because of the reflection handling, or because of how the panel is made, okay? And yes, that's true. In a very bright room like this here, and I have very bright lights now, I have those lights on and those lights. Compared to the CX, and you will see this in my side-by-side comparison as well, the CX is completely black, okay? This is grayish, like, yeah, not completely black, okay? Let's say like this. But this is a mirror. This has perfect, or there's absolutely no issue in terms of reflections. So really there's a difference like day and night. And what I have to say is, forget about the black level rays, what you have here, because there is no black level rays, okay? It's still OLED black, especially when you have, or when you watch content in a normal lit room. And I'm not saying complete dark room, because it doesn't need to be complete dark to have perfect OLED black, okay? Just in a very, very bright room, you have this raised blacks from the reflections, but not because of the panel, or how should I say, not because of the OLED technology, it's still OLED black. It's because of the reflection, okay? You have a little bit of, yeah, black level rays. Let's call it like this. But it's not a problem at all in a normal dim room. Okay, so let's talk about brightness. And of course, the S95C is brighter than my LG CX and of course then my G2, but not like day and night. I wouldn't say like this. I mean, the thing is, I measured 1300 and almost 1350 nits on the S95C in Cyberpunk, and you know that my measurements roughly on the CX is around 750-800 candela or nits. So you can see there is a difference, but again, it's not like day and night. So what I have to say, so I need to, let's phrase it a little bit differently, okay? In terms of the average picture brightness, because when you use the TV in the most accurate mode, then there is not much of a difference in terms of the average picture brightness. Just in the specular highlights, there is actually a big difference. And what I found is, after I compared the TVs, the CX in specular highlights looks very, very dull. Very, very dull compared to the S95C. And I have seen this already when I compared the G2 with my CX, that the G2, of course, shows specular highlights much better because of the higher peak brightness. Average picture brightness, very much the same between CX and G2, but again, the specular highlights much, much better. And we have now with the S95C, of course, even better specular highlights because of the much higher specular, much higher maximum peak brightness. So this is really something. You will see it in the side-by-side comparison because it's very hard to describe. But again, the CX looks very, very dull. And this at the moment is HDRG on the CX and the most accurate settings actually on the S95C, the basic and static settings, okay? You can make this TV much, much brighter actually, much, much brighter, and then the CX looks, sorry to say, but very, very old school. Okay, so let's talk about colors. And of course the S95C has the better colors, and not just better colors, much better colors. So you will see this also in my side-by-side comparisons, but let me just explain what I'm talking about. So let's say we have a sunrise, yellow sun, very, very bright yellow sun. On the CX, this sun is whitish. Yeah, that's how it is, white. On the S95C, it's yellow. And this counts for red, green, blue, for all the colors. As soon you have very, very bright HDR colors, the colors appearing whitish on the CX, on the G2, and most likely on the G3 as well, because that's how it is. They are very, very powerful and colorful, of course, on the S95C without being oversaturated. That's the point. They're just very, very natural colors. And to be very honest, before I had the S95C, I never noticed this actually, because you're just used to it. You just think that's how it is. But after you experience this, sorry, but WRGB is not state of the art anymore. Okay, so before we end now this video, let me talk about my final point, shadow details. And yeah, that's something which I found is also better on the S95C. Not much better, but when you play in a complete dark room, you see more details without having the feeling you have a washed out picture. So I'm not quite sure why this is the case, but I experienced this on the G2 and the CX, and I will confirm or verify if there's anything wrong with my calibration and stuff like that. But I mean, even let's say like this, this is the case and we have black level crush some sort on the CX and G2. The S95C is just handling this better, and I'm using right now actually the recommended settings from Classy. In terms of shadow details -2 and stuff like that, and even then I have better shadow details in HDR and SDR. So this is something which is maybe not very important to you, but if you play in a very dark room or a normal or a lit room, a dim room, then this is actually really something what is a nice plus actually. So this is something, of course, I will focus also in my side-by-side comparisons, because this is, in my opinion, very important. But right now, I mean, I think that's it for this very first impression video, S95C and LG CX and G2 in my office. And what should I say? I do not regret to get the QD OLED at all. And I know what some people actually may be writing in the comment section, because at some point I mentioned I will never get a Samsung anymore because my QN95B, which by the way I sold already, so I don't have a QN95B anymore, and most likely I will never buy an LCD screen anymore. Doesn't matter which brand, but LCD is it's just not good, okay? The right now technology, okay? Let's see what's coming up in the future. But I was very pissed with QN95B and the firmware updates and stuff like that. And yeah, I keep my TV at the moment offline, and I will most likely get a Apple TV or maybe a Nvidia Shield or something like that to use Netflix and stuff like that, just to make sure it stays as it is, because right now I'm very happy with this one. Brightness in terms of maximum peak brightness, again over 1300 nits, which is quite normal according to Classy. And yeah, I don't want to ruin it with upcoming firmwares. Of course, if there is an improvement in terms of a firmware, then I will update, but right now I keep it as it is, okay? So put in the comment section, please, what you like to see next. Of course, I have to look at my poll, what I actually did, because I'm not quite sure if you like to see a side-by-side comparison between LG CX and S95C or the G2 and S95C first. I will do, of course, both, but depends where I get more votes. I will do this first, of course. So, but anyway, put in the comment section what you like to see, if I should do or what games. Of course, I will focus on HGHG compliant games, because I think this is the best thing to compare actually than the TVs, in my opinion, okay? So I will focus on this with games like Horizon Forbidden West and Gran Turismo and stuff like that. Also, of course, Cyberpunk, because Cyberpunk, in my opinion, even it's not HGHG compliant or whatever, or supported or whatever, it has great HDR in my opinion, and it needs to be in a side-by-side comparison. But again, put in the comment section, please, what do you think? And what do you think about the TV, and what do you like me to test? And before we now finally stop this video, again, black level rays, because of the reflection coating panel type, it's not an issue at all. Again, right now, yes, I can clearly see when there's a black screen. Of course, right now I can't see it, but if there's a black screen, this is not completely black. This is black, but I mentioned already, this is like a mirror here right now. And you can, for sure, you can see it that this TV is actually mirroring in this TV, but you can't see anything from this TV in this TV, and there is literally nothing. This reflection handling is so much better. Believe me, if you have issues like that with a very bright room or maybe a light or something like that in the background and it's bothering you, give it a try. Give it really a try. And now I think it's enough for the first impression video. I will start my side-by-side comparisons, and I see you guys next time. Bye.